For me,
it started small.
It started small.
From pool halls in Toronto to poke rooms in Las Vegas.
it's given me a life
I never could have dreamed.
The game has taken me around the world. I've seen it all.
From the Windy City to Sin City, this game can make you a legend.
This game can make you a champion.
It may have started small.
It may have started small,
But now, it's the big game.
This is the next generation.
It doesn't get any bigger than this.
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada, and the newest big game in town. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose, where tonight some of the world's best poker players continue to battle it out in our state-of-the-art poker room with $800,000 in play at this table.
David Peat, or more commonly referred to as Viffer, is kicking things off with a bit more than the minimum, $150,000.
Barry Greenstein is back for another run on the big game. The three-time bracelet winner starts off with $100,000.
For his first trick, the magician Antonia Esfandiari starts off with $150,000.
Chau Giang has more than 50 World Series cashes to his name, plus 3 bracelets. He starts off with 200 GER.
And Rahim, millionaire entrepreneur from Washington, D.C., starts off with $100,000.
And the fourth loose cannon this season is 29-year-old Troy Howard from Niagara Falls, New York. He's a music engineer and father of 5 who's being staked $100,000 to play tonight. And right now, he is with our Amanda Leatherman.
All right, Troy, you have 5 kids at home. What would doing well here at this table mean for you and your kids?
It would change their life, you know. They'd have something I never had, and everything I do for you, baby.
So cute. You're so confident. I love that. Do you feel confident today?
I feel confident. It feels like poker, and it's what I love. It's what I do.
All right, well, get out there and get them, all right?
Thanks.
Quick reminder that each loose cannon is staked $100,000, keeps all profits above the initial $100K, and at season's end, the loose cannon who's won the most money earns a North American Poker Tour passport worth $50,000.
Oh, there it is. How's it going? Here we go.
While you were gone, we proposed a 6-way all-in first hand.
Hey, I'm with it. We just got to run it twice.
Barry's famous for declining to run it more than once.
Yeah, they get those.
We're just playing.
That's it. We just play.
Run it. I'm rooting for you, Troy.
I appreciate it. I got 5 kids to feed.
5 kids?
5 kids to feed.
Are you serious? How old are you?
29.
How many of them are yours?
3 and 2 step kids.
Troy's kids are 3 of a kind and a pair of step kids. That makes a full house, right?
It does. Viffer is raised to 1,200. Action folds around to Rahim, who calls.
I promise there won't be any Danny Tanner jokes.
3 daughters and 2 stepsons.
Jeez, I'm 31. I'm afraid of marriage. You have 5 kids at 29. That's so sick.
Right. Well, you're afraid of commitment. That means you'll fold, right?
It's a good line, Troy. I like that. I like your style.
Antonio's yet to feel pot committed to any of the girls he's dated.
First flop of the night, King 7 deuce, top pair for Viffer. Rahim checks. Viffer fires 2,000.
Rick's reaching for chips. He's either going to call or raise with no pair, no draw, and a weak ace high. Neither one is really recommended.
Raises to 7,000. Viffer quickly calls.
It's the first hand. We've already seen our first sicko bluff.
Check in the dark.
Rick has checked in the dark. The turn, the 5 of spades.
Sleep in the park.
Viffer checks.
That's a new one for me, too.
8 of spades on the river. Rahim bets 15,000.
5 does have some showdown value, but this is a very loose bluff.
Viffer calls.
You're going to win. I got ace high. Nice hand.
Love that King 9, huh?
What am I supposed to do? I can't help it.
Supposed to win the pot.
I think Rahim may have misread his hand as well. Could explain the value bluff on the river.
So Viffer takes down a pretty big pot to get us started as we take a look at the rules of the big game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit, then becomes no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 400 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. Every player begins with at least $100,000 and can rebuy for up to $500,000.
I just need 2 double ups, guys. That's it. Just 2 double ups.
I told you if they fold around to us.
I'll take it in increments. I don't need it all at once.
My man.
So what if you win like 50? Are you going to come back the next day?
Man, I don't know. I really haven't made a decision yet, you know.
What do you do, Troy?
I own an irrigation company, and I also own a recording studio.
His studio is the greenest lawn in the city.
And I play poker. Not like you guys, but pretty soon, though.
You're playing poker just like us right now.
Action is folded around to Antonia Esfandiari. Jack 7 suited. Raised to 1100. Chau on the button folds. Rick Rahim, 5 deuce off suit. He's playing. Calls.
I'm starting to like this guy.
What's the bet total?
The loose cannon in the big blind also calls.
Antonio, baby.
The flop.
Here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
Deuce Jack 8.
Check. If Antonio's angling to go fishing, now he's got a pair of hooks to do it and a flush draw to go with it.
Checks around to the magician. Top pair. Bets 2,400.
Antonio's trying to build himself a nice pot.
Rahim with bottom pair.
Looks like it may be just too big of a piece for him to get away from it.
He calls, and the loose cannon folds.
If Antonio's trying to build a pot, Rick Rahim just fired up the kiln.
The turn. 3 of hearts giving Esfandiari a flush.
Check.
Rahim checks.
Antonio's made his flush. I'm sure he'd prefer not to see another heart hit on the river.
Antonio bets 5,400.
Rick's drawing dead. Even if he does think he has the only heart, he's not getting the right odds to call, so I'm not really sure what he's tanking over.
Rick does fold.
Winner. That's Antonio, in case you didn't know.
Just start playing? Online qualifier?
No, I went to the school of Viffer. Bet.
We asked David Peat or Viffer about the origin of his nickname. He declined to tell us. Apparently too hot for TV. But I heard the school of Viffer is sort of like Hogwarts for poker players. I have that neck tattoo to get in.
He liked that, Joe. Barry Greenstein, 9-4 offsuit, folds. King Queen for Antonio Esfandiari.
Chau, careful with the way you look at your cards.
Thank you. I kind of saw the camera, so I had to pay.
I could see if I wanted to. How about
You're
that?
right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Antonio raised to 1,100 and helped out his buddy to the left.
Should prove the magician isn't up to any dirty tricks.
Action folds to the loose cannon. Ace Queen suited in the small blind. Just calls, as does Viffer. 3 to the flop, which is deuce 9-7. Everybody whiffs. Howard checks. Viffer bets 2,500.
Antonio does have 2 overs, only a king high right now. Seems like he might not believe Viffer.
Or maybe he does.
I should have raised. I know I had you murdered pre-flop.
Troy folds and shows.
What'd you show?
Ace, queen of spade.
Troy had him murdered pre-flop and on the flop, playing ace, queen of spades pretty passively.
So what about some props? What are we gonna do?
I'm in.
I didn't tell you the prop yet.
It didn't matter to him. He's just in.
I got some props. Yo, Rick Rahim, you the bomb, dude.
You guys are starving yourself for 3 days, all right? You two?
I mean,
No?
I did offer him that bet.
I can't do it. I started a sick diet 3 days ago.
Yeah?
I'm eating out of Tupperware for 3 months. No drinking. 3 months. That's hard for me.
Hard for you?
That is hard.
No drinking.
What's your bet? Your bet?
It's like 30,000, but we both have the same bet. So.
What's the Tupperware thing though? Like just pre-made meals?
Yeah, my
dietitian or whatever.
Yeah.
Who you bet?
Brian Rast.
Oh, Brian Rast. He drinks too, right?
He drinks, but not for a while.
Brian Rast is another professional poker player.
Antonio is raised to 1,100.
I definitely drink more than Brian Rast.
And action is folded around to Barry, who calls.
Barry's decided he wants to defend his big blind.
It's been a very bad influence on a few of them.
Jack 9-8 on the flop. Barry checks middle pair.
He's also got a gut shot.
Antonio checks bottom pair. 6 of spades on the turn.
Barry's picked up an open-ender, but Antonio's picked up a gut shot straight flush draw.
Barry bets 2,500.
After the check on the flop, Barry may think his hand is best.
Esfandiari calls.
Antonio's eights are beat, but he does have a very strong draw.
Queen of hearts on the river. Barry checks.
Queen's an overcard for Barry and also busts his draw. Puts a 4-card straight on board.
Antonio fires 5,200.
He may have picked up on the fact that the queen was a scare card for Barry.
And Greenstein folds.
Antonio gets Barry to lay down the best hand.
So Antonio performs a little magic on Barry and runs the bluff to get his night going in the right direction. The big game is just getting going. Much more from Las Vegas coming your way after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas, where our loose cannon, Troy Howard, is staring down these 5 men on the felt in hopes of winning a North American Poker Tour passport. But it's another party of 5 he has in the back of his mind.
It's your boy Troy, a.k.a. Boogie. Well, I have 5 children. The boys are 10 months apart, 10 and 11, so, you know, they're like, what do you call them, Irish twins. And the girls are 4, 3, and 7 months old, so I got kids to take to school and kids to put to bed every single night of my life, a lot of them. I love my kids, you know, I love them more than anything in the world, and I love to look at them, and I love to see them grow up, and I love to talk to them, and, you know, my daughters melt my heart, so there's nothing else in the world that does that. The first tournament I ever got in, I won. And by the end of the season, I racked up the most points, and I won the most tournaments. Pretty much every statistic I was #1 in. You know, everybody agreed, and I agreed that I had a little talent at the game, and since then, you know, I haven't looked back. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for my children. You know, they love it as much as me, and they think that this is the lifestyle that we should be living together, and this would give them the opportunity to not have to struggle for the rest of their life.
Hard not to root for a guy who's doing it for the kids.
Well, if Troy really wants to make his family proud, he's going to have to best Nadia Magnus, who is our loose cannon leader in the clubhouse with more than $63,000 in profits. Rick Rahim straddles.
Straddles a blind raise, doubling the big blind.
That's live, boys.
So the action starts with the loose cannon who folds. So's Viffer.
You could kill it off real quick if your name is Barry.
Barry does like to attack anything he perceives to be dead money.
And raises to 2,500.
Barry's going to raise his position.
Pocket nines for Rick.
I'm going to re-raise. There's the 25. Okay, so there's the 25.
Re-raises to 8,700.
Okay.
And Barry folds.
It's too big, wasn't it?
Pot limit, but 5, I mean.
If Barry knew what Rick had, he probably wouldn't have folded, which actually makes this a good re-raise by Rahim. Since he was only a coin flip to win the hand, better to take it down pre-flop.
Once again, alongside Joe Stapleton, I am Chris Rose. Joe, we're only 6 hands in, but already we've seen some very aggressive moves at this table. I'm wondering how that's going to affect the mindset of this season's 4th loose cannon, Troy Howard.
If what we've seen is any indication of things to come, we could see more shots fired in this game than at the OK Corral. If he wants to both survive and turn a profit, Troy will have to come out guns blazing to try to match firepower at the likes of Viffer and Antonio, or he'll have to lie in wait and set some traps with a few well-aimed shots.
Action continues with the loose cannon, Troy Howard.
Where's the straddle, man? You can't win a lot if you don't play.
I'm gonna see. You gonna make me.
First point. I mean, you're free rolling.
I'm gonna have to check raise you then. All right, check raise.
It's gonna be hard to check raise him.
Oh, cause
Nah.
Troy folds. Viffer, King 8 suited. Raises to 1,200. Barry folds. So's Antonio. Chau, out. Queen deuce.
I don't even want to call with this hand.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't want you to call either.
Rick did call.
I'm going to check in the dark.
All right, I'm going to check in the dark.
Really?
Rick's being playful, but he is giving away information about his hand.
Both have checked in the dark. 4, 9, 10, 2 diamonds.
That's got to be me.
I haven't looked at my hand yet, so I wouldn't know.
I'll check in the dark.
Rick checked. Jack of diamonds on the turn.
I don't want to sleep in the park.
Viffer bets 2 grand.
I got no diamond, and I don't have any of that.
And Rahim folds.
Viffer swipes another pot from Rick. Rick's been playing pretty loose, so I'm a little surprised to see him fold an open-ender, though he may have picked up on the fact that it's not a great draw. His diamond outs may not have been any good. He could have already been drawing dead, and even if he made his straight, it would have been very tough to get paid off by a worse hand.
Viffer will bat leadoff. 5 high, folds. Barry's out. So's Antonio. Chau Giang. Big slick on the button. Raise to 1,200.
First time we've seen Chau raise.
Little ace for Rahim, who folds. And the loose cannon, 9 high.
9-6 isn't in a lot of players' big blind defense range, but he is in at a discount.
And makes the call.
Keep in mind he's chosen to defend against the tightest player at the table so far.
9-4-9, trip 9s for Howard.
Don't worry, Troy, even if you confuse your 6s and your 9s, you're still good.
Bets 2,500.
Troy's made a donk bet out of position into the pre-flop raiser.
Chau calls.
Chau thinks he might have the best hand, and a lot of the time in this spot he would.
Jack of hearts on the turn.
That card does put some straight and flush draws out there. If Chau is drawing, Troy will want to make him pay.
Howard bets 6,500.
That's not good, huh, bro? We have 4, all right.
And Chau folds.
The loose cannon took it down.
Chau was just noticing that even a 4 had him beat. Also something I think about a Sherbert elbow.
Actually, I think he was complimenting Troy on being on the plus side for the first time tonight. He is up $1,700. Can the loose cannon keep it going? Find out when we return to Las Vegas for more of the big game after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada, home of the big game. Quick reminder that stats for every hand of the big game, as well as bonus footage deemed too hot for TV, and perhaps the origin of Viffer's nickname, can also be found on the website. Ace-Queen for Antonio. Raises to 1,100. Chau folds. Ace-Jack for Rick Rahim.
Decent starting hand for Rick, but he is dominated.
Does call. 9-8 suited for the loose cannon. Also calls on the button. Viffer folds. Barry's in as well. The first 4-person flop of the night. 6-Jack-9. Check by Barry.
Deuce would have been better for Antonio. He just got outflopped by both Troy and Rick.
The Magician checks. Top pair for Rick, who bets $5,000.
It's a pretty big bet. A pot-sized bet into 3 other opponents is a very strong move. You do want people to call you with worse hands, though. He may chase away all of his action.
And it does chase Troy out. And Barry and Antonio.
Oh, Mr. Cannon. I'll show one time since I had it that time. Yeah. I showed
Yeah,
it.
he did. He turned it out. I didn't see. I seen a jack. I didn't see nothing else. 2 face cards. It looked like. What was it? You want to flip it out?
Can we see it?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I just threw like a girl. That's all. They landed face up. Yeah.
Nice hand.
So Rick gets some back after losing a bunch to Viffer early on. Barry and Chau still down a smidge, while the loose cannon hovering around his starting stack.
If Troy finishes above $100,000, he will have the option to either keep the profits or he can come back one more time to try to increase his stack.
How you feeling so far, Troy?
Great. I got a bunch of fish at the table.
Yeah.
Like a sushi bar, right?
Salmon on your left, mahi-mahi on your other left, you know.
I'm allergic to fish, though. So.
Little ahi tuna, third to your left.
Troy's seeing fish at this table. He's probably had too much sake. All I see are sharks, piranha, and a whale.
I like his confidence, though. King 10 suited for Rick Rahim. Limps in. The loose cannon folds. Viffer, Ace-7 suited calls. Barry folds. King 5 for Antonio, who calls. Queen 9 for Chau, who's going to get a free look at the flop.
I get there like 3 weeks ago. That's pretty good. Nice.
6, Queen 7, 2 spades. Goes check, check, check over to Viffer. Bets 1,100. Antonio folds.
After it's been checked around, Viffer's taking a stab with his pair of sevens. Chau's got him for the moment with a pair of queens.
And calls.
Chau said, I would like to call this bet, please, Viffer, in case you didn't understand.
Thank you.
Raise.
A raise by Rahim to 6,100.
Rahim's got a flush draw and one overcard. You can see he's 50% to make the best hand by the river.
Viffer folds.
Man, flat jaw?
I don't know.
Looked like you have flat jaw to me.
I looked at one card, it was pretty good. I'm assuming the other one matched.
Ace of spades.
I like Rick.
You know.
Think you have a flat
Chau
jaw.
folds.
You can look at one if you want.
No.
Okay.
You don't want to look at the top one?
Either one card only.
Ace
They're
of
the
spades.
same.
Chau turns over the king of spades. Rahim is a 42-year-old father of 4 from the D.C. area who became a millionaire by age 30. And the most money Rick's ever won during a poker session, $450 grand.
You're a smart man. I don't know why he says you're so stupid. You're really smart.
I give you a credit. It's just the people taking it don't give you a credit. I give you all the credit in the world.
Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman.
Chau, how much credit do I get?
He said cash, no credit. He said strictly cash, no credit.
He play a lot of hands, I give him credit sometimes.
Action around to Viffer. Raised to 1,200 suited.
What do you think, like a limit with like king deuce?
Chau may be realizing he folded the best hand.
Antonio folds. So's Chau.
I swear I want to fold. I just got cards that I got to call with. Oh, I guess I don't have to. I don't
Happens
have
to the
to,
best of
but-
them, Rick, you know?
Let's see. Last time you had king 8, right? And you,
Suited,
first
suited.
hand, yeah.
No, king 9, double
And I was
suited.
betting Indy the whole way, right?
3 ace queen.
All right, I'm just going to give you a little feeler bet. See where I'm at.
2,200.
You're right in front of me. I mean, I can tell you where you're at. Las Vegas?
Viffer calls.
All right. Now you got me scared.
I'm scared too.
Jack of clubs.
Rick still got the best hand, and Viffer hasn't picked up any additional outs.
Bet of 5,200.
Viffer's probably remembering the first hand as well, and Rick fired the river with nothing.
You got a 3?
No.
Viffer folds.
You can show him one card if you want.
I prefer not to see, actually.
Okay.
Can I look?
You can look, just don't show him. Just don't show him.
He said I can look. What okay what you said?
What'd you see? What'd you see?
You wouldn't see
I saw, you know, I saw it. I'm not going to tell you.
I don't know which one you saw.
I saw
though.
10.
You saw a 10?
If Antonio saw a 10, he must have been looking at Amanda.
We're back with more after this.
My name is Rick Rahim, and I'm playing the big game. Well, how did I get involved with poker? I'll tell you, I watched it on TV 5-6 years ago, and I said, you know what the heck, I ought to try that. And I ran up to Foxwoods, and I entered the main event. First time I'd ever stepped in a poker room, and I sat down, and I did pretty well there, and I was hooked.
Rahim actually finished 10th in that WPT event.
Rick acknowledges he can be a real jerk at the poker table, which is odd because he seemed like a heck of a nice guy. He says he only does it if he thinks it'll give him an edge.
Viffer has straddled on this hand.
Disrespectful.
No, it's actually respectful. Now I'm steaming. See, the game got better.
All right, now we're playing some poker.
All right.
Action folds on over to Chau. 8-5 suited.
Oh, I wish I had any 2 cards I could call
is
you
this
with.
the one we're supposed to go? You said all in without looking.
Is that binding? You said all in, right?
No, he said all in without looking.
Is that binding? Because I think I heard him say it.
I heard him say it.
There they go.
I heard him.
All right, well, let me see what the river is, and then I'll tell you if it's binding or not. Yeah.
Troy calls.
Don't try it.
I gotta look.
You ain't gotta look. You don't have to. There's no.
King, queen suited for Viffer.
We got a long day ahead of us. We got to keep it interesting.
Raises to 2,800, and Troy calls.
Please punish him, Troy.
I'm about to raise him no matter what the flop is. Let me get something.
Is that a promise?
No, it's not, it's binding if I say that, you know.
Well, he did say it.
Ace 9-7.
Check.
Rick's working the needle angle on Troy.
Wow.
Viffer bets 5,000.
I don't think he's going to let a rookie push him around. That's what he was saying in the men's room.
Yeah, I'm
earlier.
not a rookie, though.
No, he's not a rookie. I give him that.
Not a rookie. I grind harder than you guys do, trust me.
Viffer wins the pot.
Wait, you play a lot online, right?
No, I play live. I play live.
Play at the casino.
What games do you play there?
I mean, it's a $200 max, guys.
Quick tip, if you don't want to seem out of your element, don't tell the table your max buy is their small blind.
He should listen to you, Joe. Barry straddles. Antonio folds. Chau.
Barry, is that a razor or straddle?
Straddle.
Rick folds.
I like your style, Troy.
Jack 10 for the loose cannon.
Troy's reaching for chips. He may think his Jack 10 is a decent shot against two random hands.
Raises to 2,500. Viffer calls.
Uh-oh. There's about to be a poker game breaking out here.
Even though he was under the gun, Barry straddle bought him pre-flop position. After the flop, he still has position against the two blinds.
Barry re-raises to 9,000.
Because of his position, Barry's re-raising range is pretty wide. Now for Troy, he plays in a $200 max buy. His biggest win ever is $2,600. This raise is more than twice that.
You think he's doing that math in his head?
All he's saying is that's a lot of money.
And so he folds.
Well, if it wasn't pot limit before the flop, Barry, would that be like 90,000? Like, you know, but you could only make it 9,000 this time. Hey, you're gonna win.
Nice, Amber.
I only have one move, you know, all in.
You can't do it here, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I saved like 80,000.
I didn't even know it was possible. See, my hand was too good to move all in.
Yeah, okay.
If I don't...
Taylor, muck those cards real quick.
Viffer folds.
No angle shooting at this table.
That was the obvious aces.
Yeah, okay.
Barry takes down the pot.
Antonia, why'd you button your shirt up? You had your chest out before.
I thought it unbuttoned itself, and I didn't want to be the guy with the Persian chest hair sticking out.
You
know?
were. You were that guy.
She told me it wasn't sexy. I don't know. But should I do it?
I think you should unbutton it.
Unbutton it? See, when I bend over, it looks kind of chachi, and I don't want to be that guy.
Amanda, work your own side of the street. We actually want it. We want the Phil Laak outfit on him.
I think it's a good look for owning a discotheque.
There's no medallions around his neck, though. Queen 10 suited. Antonio limps in. Rick Rahim's along for the ride. So's the loose cannon.
Run him.
With 3 high.
Wow.
Give me, I called a 400.
Friendly pot.
We'll give you your cards back for 600, Chau.
Yes, for sure. I will play for 600.
Nearly a family pot. 6-7-6 on the flop. Viffer checks. So's Barry. Same for the Magician. Rahim as well. Everybody checks. 5 of diamonds on the turn.
Viffer still got the best hand with a pair of 7s, and he's picked up an open-ended straight flush draw.
Viffer bet 1,500, and everybody folds.
This was your double-up hand.
It could have been.
So sexy. This is sexy. Now this is a very, very sexy hand.
6-7?
7-4 diamonds.
Now that is sexy. Wow, that's sexier than your unbuttoned shirt.
That's beautiful.
Well, thanks to Antonio and Viffer, it looks like Justin Timberlake isn't the only one bringing sexy back. You ready? We're back with more after this. Welcome back to the big game. We have played 19 of the 150 hands so far. Viffer, 9 high.
But it was in front of you. It was in my back.
Folds. King 10 offsuit for Barry Greenstein. Raised to 1,500. Antonio's out. Chau. See ya.
He likes to feel manly.
Rick Rahim, very aggressive so far in the session. Folds. Now the loose cannon in the big blind.
Troy seems to have a hard time folding his big blind. It's worked out well for him so far. But even though you're in at a discount, you're almost always out of position.
He doesn't care. He calls.
He flopped trips last time. Not a care in the world.
6-6 jack, 2 hearts. Flush draw for Howard, who checks. Greenstein fires 2,000.
Barry Greenstein continuation bets compulsively.
And Troy makes the call. Ace of diamonds on the turn. Check by Howard. 5,000 from Greenstein.
Barry's using his position well here.
We can make it a friendly bet.
And that will get Troy to fold.
Troy seems pretty reluctant to part with any of those gray 5K chips.
The loose cannon tried to defend his big blind and is now down $7,200. And Joe, it seems Troy is playing a lot of hands here early on.
Yeah, as we look at the VPIP, which shows the percentage of hands where a player is getting involved pre-flop, the loose cannon is at 45%. Next up is Viffer. He's at 50%, probably because he's trying to play pots with the loose cannon. But even more ridiculous is Rahim, who's at 60% VPIP. He's bordering on Maniac.
It is early, but we're going to keep an eye on those stats all week.
Don't worry, I'll give you a gamble when you won a couple pot.
Chau folds.
I'm going to limp with a really strong hand.
Thank you, Rick. Taking my job.
I'm going to raise with a stronger one.
Be careful, don't get too cocky.
I'm not. I'm just raising with a better hand.
All right.
Troy raises to 1,600. Viffer folds.
Despite his VPIP, Viffer knows better than to call with a weak ace.
Barry calls. And Rick is sticking around. So 3 to the flop.
Barry's actually a slight favorite in this hand.
Queen 5-7. Barry checks with a flush draw. Rick checks with nothing.
Troy's flopped the best hand with a pair of sevens. He's ahead for now, but both he and Barry have similar chances of making the winning hand.
Troy fired 3,500. Barry calls. And Rick folds.
Barry's likely to know he doesn't have the best hand right now, but with a flush draw and 1 over, he probably realizes he might not be in bad shape.
He's actually in great shape now after a 10 on the turn. Barry checks.
Barry's made his pair, now jumped ahead of Troy.
Troy fires 6,500 this time.
Barry might not know he's ahead, but it's going to be tough for Troy to get him to fold.
Barry doesn't fold, he calls. The river, deuce of hearts. Barry checks, Troy checks, and Barry gets the best of the loose cannon again.
Nice hand.
If Troy had played more aggressively, Barry maybe would have folded, but it's pretty tough to fire again in that spot.
Barry adds to his stack.
That's 3. 3 times a charm.
Troy lost an additional 11,600 that hand.
I knew you had the flush draw. I just didn't know if you had a pair or not.
Rick Rahim straddles this hand, so the action will begin on the loose cannon. Troy Howard folds. Viffer, King 4 suited. Raises to 2,400. Barry folds. Antonio, ace, queen.
Antonio's trying to decide whether he wants to call or raise. Viffer is a loose player, and he raised from the cutoff, which means his range includes lots of hands that are worse than ace-queen.
Antonio re-raises to 9,000. Chau folds. Rick Rahim, ace-6 offsuit.
With a raise and a re-raise, this would be a very loose call.
Rick folds. Action back to Viffer.
Viffer's got position, and he might be thinking that he can push Antonio off certain hands on the flop.
Viffer calls.
Bit of a loose call from Viffer, but he's done well with suited kings earlier in the session.
The flop, 9 king queen, top pair for Viffer, middle pair for Esfandiari. Antonio checks. Viffer checks.
Both players playing a bit cautiously now.
5 of diamonds on the turn. Antonio checks again.
Viffer's probably pretty confident he has the best hand at this point.
But he checks. Board pairs on the river.
With the way the action's gone, Antonio may think his queen is good.
Antonio checks. Viffer fires 15,000.
It's a pot-sized bet here in the river. Looks like Antonio was maybe expecting a check behind. Size of the bet is confusing because the play was passive up to this point. Now Viffer's showing a lot of strength.
I feel like you got there, Viff.
9-ball corner pocket.
Feels like it. It really does.
Antonio's wondering if all the checking allowed Viffer to catch a third 9.
It's amazing. You know what I have.
You have 2 jacks?
Viffer's a little off, but still putting Antonio on a hand he can beat. The school of Viffer says bet, 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 so it might be tough for Antonio to give him credit for having a hand.
You have a king, huh?
Do I need a king?
Antonio calls.
Somehow Viffer's talked Antonio into making the call. Very nice value bet from the Viff.
Those raggedy kings are working out for you so far.
Any king will do.
Apparently.
Knew you had a king. Nice hand.
Viffer wins the biggest pot of the night of almost $50,000.
Antonio knew he had a king, but paid $15,000 to confirm his read.
See, if this wasn't on TV, Antonio would have folded for sure because he knew. But for the off chance, he just didn't want to risk like me turning over like the 4-5.
If this weren't on TV, Antonio may not be so quiet right now.
Am I right?
Pretty close.
Welcome back to Las Vegas and the big game. Viffer just doubled up his profits after that last hand against Antonia Esfandiari. He is now up more than $51,000 tonight.
The school of Viffer prepares you well for the real world.
For the loose cannon, on the wrong side of things right now. Limps in. Viffer calls. Buries in as well. Antonio on the button. Calls.
I could raise the whole field.
I hope I have a raising hand. Pretty good.
Rick's actually got the best hand for the moment.
All right.
Bach.
Rick checks his option.
I'm pretty sure I have the
That
best
was like
hand.
false advertising.
I'm pretty sure I have the best hand. If he had folded, I'm raising.
That's how strong Chau's calling them small blind. Chau in the small blind scares everyone.
Family pot to the flop, which is 8 tray king. Chau checks. Bottom pair.
I'll take a shot. 25.
Middle pair for Rick. Fires 2,500. Loose cannon folds.
Any raggedy king? King 3 or king 8 this time?
I have a good king this time.
Do you?
A good king.
Oh, then maybe I can beat you.
Viffer calls with top pair. Action folds to Chau.
You have a bad king?
No.
He folds.
Well, that's good. That means he probably won't hit his third king.
Viffer does have a good king this time. Rick's looking for an ace and 8 or running clubs.
Instead sees a 4.
That'll slow me down.
Rick checks.
I either got there or I'm scared that you got there.
Viffer checks.
This isn't true. You were already there.
5 of spades on the river.
I'm pretty sure I got the best hand.
Don't these guys know they're supposed to keep their hands a secret?
All right, let's try 6,000.
Rick bets 6,000. Viffer calls the bluff.
No spade, you win. King what? King of spades? No, King of spades is out there. King 10. You call with no spade? I am so outclassed here.
Not only did he call him, he beat him into the pot.
And Viffer wins 20 grand.
Wow. Nice hand. Nice hand.
Viffer picked off the bluff by Rick, who's been the aggressor at this table so far, Joe.
Players' aggression factor applies to post-flop actions only, and right now Rick is already at 8. This may explain why Viffer called him down so light on that last hand. Rick seems to bet almost every time when he's checked to, and Viffer may be picking up on that.
You should not sleep well with that call.
He won't sleep well on new sheets he bought with your money.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to steam raise his hand.
All right.
Well, nice to announce your intentions. Viffer straddles, so action on Barry, ace-9 suited. Raise to 2,500. Action folds to the loose cannon. Ace-9 suited as well.
Decent hand, and we know Troy likes to defend his big blind.
He does so by calling. Oh, pocket kings for Viffer.
Pretty lucky to wake up with 2 kings in the straddle.
Raises to 10 grand.
Regardless of whether he has a hand or not, this is a squeeze play. And Viffer is capable of squeezing with far worse than 2 kings. Barry's trying to figure out how often he'd do it with a hand worse than ace-9.
Barry figured it out and folded. So's the loose cannon.
This is your show, Tipper.
My show? See, any kings will do, but 2 of them are better.
With 2 of them, you really have kicker problems. So.
See, I know you got kids. I don't want
I could have beat you right
You don't
there.
want him to think you're robbing it.
I could have flopped a straight flush. You never know.
I understand. I don't want to. I would never abuse the children, actually.
That's not what I heard. Maybe not.
will.
Maybe not his
He's
children.
raised me 25 times so far. He don't care.
Barry would re-raise his own kids if he thought they were putting in dead money.
What do you need?
Barry under the gun this hand. 8-6 suited. Raises to 1,500.
Barry's decided to continue to ride his bully reputation by raising light under the gun.
Chau also suited. Calls. Rick on the button.
Wow. Here comes the worst player with the worst hand.
Story checks out.
Calls.
That is, of course, unless my friend at the other end decides to get in the plat.
Jack deuce.
Why does everybody always pick on the fat guy?
Oh.
He's got all the chips now.
You talking about you or me?
Now come. Yeah, but see, you got muscle.
I had my head down. I thought he was talking about me.
No.
Then you said the fat guy on the game. You jumped on him too.
3 to the flop. 7 Jack 4. Barry bets 3,000 with a flush draw. Chau folds.
Barry's also got a gut shot. It's a semi-bluff.
Rick calls with bottom pair.
Rick knows Barry continuation bets like it's going out of style, so maybe his 4 is good.
It's not anymore. Barry connects on the flush and checks. Rick bets 3,000.
If you check to Rick, he's going to bet, despite the fact that both open-ended straight and flush draws have hit. Yep. You didn't misread your hand, Barry. That really just happened.
And Barry just calls. The river. The 8 of spades. Barry checks again.
Check one pair, Barry. I'm pretty sure you win.
Yeah, I win.
Yeah, Barry wins a pot of nearly $18,000.
Nice hand.
Barry's probably a little bummed Rick didn't make one of those classic river bluffs.
Barry. Actually, Barry does not have it out for you. He's actually probably rooting for you.
For sure.
I'm just.
Actually,
the way the loose cannon thing works, if you're not in with him, you're always rooting for him. For sure. Everyone.
See, if you're not in with him, so
Well,
he's the
no,
only
I
one
mean,
in
if you're
with him.
not. No, I'm saying if you're not in the hand with him, you're always rooting for him.
Barry Greenstein pockets some change in the last few hands to put him up over 20 grand, but it's Viffer who leads the way with the most profits. Meanwhile, the loose cannon has dug himself an early hole. He's down almost 23K.
Remember, Troy only keeps the money he earns above 100K, and with 122 hands to go, it's early, but he's going to have to get on his horse soon.
All right, guys, that'll do it for tonight. You feeling all right?
Great,
Stack
great.
is slipping just a little.
Just a little bit. Barry keeps killing me, but I think
It's Barry?
calling me with flush draws.
It looks like yours is just going up, David. Up, up, up.
That's the plan. I've gotten lucky so far.
You think that's it, Luck?
I mean, and bad players, you know.
All right, guys, that's it for
Sloppy.
tonight. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. See you next time.
For Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. We'll see you tomorrow night.
What do you think of the loose cannon?
Loose cannon's a good player, you can already tell. But
We're talking about him like he's not here.
yeah, no, he's okay, but it's a tough situation. If you don't pick up any cards, you only have one bullet. Makes it tough.